Welcome back to Big Little Lessons. I'm Jenny Goodenough.
And I'm Kristine Annunziata. This summer, we're revisiting some of our favorite conversations from our first year of podcasting. I can't believe we've had a first year of podcasting. Still blows my mind. So today's episode is especially meaningful because we're welcoming back our very first guest, James Calvert.
So for our listeners, we've known James for 20 years, plus more. And he really, helped us begin this whole new adventure. He joined us before we really knew what we were doing. And James, thank you, because most people would be like, well, what am I going to do? And you're like, I'll be there. And you did.
What am I going to do? I'll find out.
But, the truth is you helped us with this adventure and you made it easy because you brought exactly what we hope for this podcast, which is friendship, laughter, honest conversation, and, of course, unforgettable stories of school.
I remember that episode. We just cracked up the whole time.
Exactly.
So anyone who's worked with children knows that schools are filled with moments you simply cannot make up. And as teachers, we've said, you can't make this up.
You can't make it up.
You can't make it up. So James has a gift for remembering those moments. And more importantly, for telling the stories in a way that makes us feel like we were right there with him.
Since our original conversation, James has continued working with students as a long-term substitute. Mm-hmm. And now he is just finishing up teaching summer art classes. Mm-hmm. So naturally, we invited him back to find out whether he has added any new stories to his collection.
Welcome back to Big Little Lessons,
Thanks.
James.
It's great to be back here.
So first of all, what does life look like for you since we recorded that very first episode? Back in fall of 2025.
Wow. Life is good. It goes by so quickly. I know you guys are amazed you've been doing this for more than a year, but man, life just goes by quick.
I remember when we were all turning 50 and you said you had a friend who said you're...
Yeah, I had said I couldn't believe that the 40s were already over. That was so quick. And my friend, who's since passed away, unfortunately,
I'm sorry.
He did say, your 40s go quick, but in your 50s, you sprint. You sprint.
Well,
we've sprinted.
We're sprinted. We're at the end now.
We're getting there. We're all at the end. And your birthday's in October, and our birthdays are in November.
Yeah. You're younger than us.
Yes, you are.
Thank goodness.
We'll go first.
Kristine, I'm so glad we have friends in their 50s.
So you spent this past year still doing a lot of teaching.
Doing a lot of teaching. I had 2 long-term stints. Okay. Once in the tech lab, but also helping with Spanish, and then one in first grade. So that was a big, it was most of the school year suddenly. Wow.
Yes. And the tech lab, what grade levels were you teaching?
That was everyone, kindergarten through 6th grade. So I got to see the whole school there. And that was really fun.
Oh.
I love that you just dive into any opportunity. You've been art teacher, you've been PE teacher.
Yeah, you do it all.
First grade associate teacher.
Any music classes recently?
Yeah, well, not recently, but there was a long-term stint
you
as the
did.
Yeah, as the music teacher. So.
So, have you discovered that you enjoy a particular age group?
Or not?
They really all bring something to the table. It's terrific. I like it a lot,
Yeah, and they're so lucky to have you because that's the privilege we've had working with you. You bring joy in the classroom. And, at the end of the day, there needs to be some joy. If not, it's a very long day. So
it's meant to be fun. It's not prison. Come on, we're having a good time. We're learning. And
the role of long-term sub is very different than just coming in to substitute for a day, right? Because you're a teacher, you're part of the classroom, but they might not see you that way. So what do you think, if you reflect on that, what have you learned about relationships with students when you step into already established class and you're going to be there day in and day out?
When you're in for a day or something, or 2 or a week or something, you do kind of want to win them over quickly and be entertaining. But when you're in a long-term situation, you want to make sure you're following the rhythm of the class and fitting right in. And there's also just a lot more clerical, technical things you have to take care of that, a lot of the computery stuff and attendancy stuff, normally you can just leave that for the regular teacher. But when you now are the regular teacher, you're going to all those meetings and meeting with the parents and writing the reports and all the other stuff I was missing out on.
You're like, now I get why teachers are there early and leave later.
And why they're burnt out.
Right. I do remember showing up Monday morning at 8 and opening my computer and turning on my email and just seeing all these things. And I'm like, there's so much to deal with. And the other teacher's like, didn't you read your email over the weekend? I was like, well, no, I'm not working over the weekend. And she's like, well, you might want to check in. And I thought, wow, this is not a 5-day-a-week job. This is a 24/7, 7 days a week job.
Because if you wait till, like you learned, what happened at 8 o'clock, you're like, oh my gosh, the kids are coming in soon. I've got to get on top of this.
Yeah, on top of it. So I learned, okay, yes, I'm not working over the weekends, but maybe I'll check in.
Just a little bit. A little bit. Did you have a moment this year in both your long-term sub jobs where you felt like the kids said, oh, Mr. Calvert really is my teacher for the time being?
There was one day where we were writing thank you notes. It was a gratitude week, and little Charlie, she was really excited and wanted to express to me that she really felt like I was one of the main teachers, but she had a lot of fidelity to the previous teacher. And so she wrote this note, and it was very sweet. She goes, it's so special having a boy teacher and a girl teacher, and you were my third favorite teacher. I kept that on my desk the whole year. I was so excited. I'm like, I made the podium. Yes.
You have a bronze.
I have a bronze.
A bronze teacher medal.
That's so good.
It was so funny.
Oh my gosh. James, you always make us laugh. Can you think of a funniest thing that has happened since we last talked about school stories? I mean, we were kind of reminiscing before we started recording, but.
Yeah. I don't have a funniest thing, but there's a thing we do called counsel. Mm-hmm. So, it's not academic and it's not telling the kids or extracting anything from them, just giving them a space. This is a time where we can all listen to each other. And if you have something to say and, you want to be personal about yourself, but not necessarily, you don't have to reveal private things about your family. This one little student, Charlie, he's a guy with a very particular voice. Kind of almost like a Peanuts cartoon voice. And so really, like everyone who hears him smiles and like just loves his voice. And I remember in council and he said, the question was, what do people assume about you? Or what do people think you're like before they know you? And he said, I'm not always happy. And people always like, if I want to say something or if I'm upset, and people like always smile at me. And I thought, that is so touching. And such a revelation that and I hope I haven't been doing that to him as well, because, just because you're sweet looking or you're cute or you're small doesn't mean you don't have these huge feelings. Yeah. So it's not a funny story, but it was a really nice story.
You didn't say, and you have that adorable Peanuts voice.
Yeah, I refrained.
Oh, he sounds adorable.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't laugh out loud, but it touches your heart.
Yeah. It's one of those moments where you realize you're working with human beings who their soul is complete. Yeah. Maybe they don't know, your references to the 80s, sitcoms because they're only 6 years old. But,
someday they'll get it.
But they know themselves. They know their perspective. They know their feelings. Even if they can't even always name them, they have them. They're complete.
Yes.
And so you get those moments and you think, this is a beautiful responsibility I have my job is to expose them to things and talk them through things, but not necessarily tell them how to be.
Yes.
Right. It's a reminder, never underestimate the power of little people because they are, complete.
They're complete.
They're complete in where they are, right?
And I think the space, that social emotional learning of giving them the space to be able to practice articulating those feelings that are deep within. It's such a beautiful thing. It's a big part of academics. People think it's the workbooks and it's the worksheets and tests and grinding, but it's not so much more.
Yeah.
I love that. So we have some rapid fire story prompts.
Okay.
You can answer as many as you'd like, but we want you to sort of think of the first story that comes to mind. And if that feels like a lot, you can just say, I don't know. And then
I'm still processing.
And we'll share.
We're
trying something new.
I like it.
Yeah. A student comment that caught you completely off guard.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I'm sure I put it in the previous episode, but you're a little bit fat, Mr. Calvert. It's just still one of my favorites. But there was a moment also where like 5th grade, for some reason, they all started telling memories of dealing with Mr. Calvert. And I remember one boy was like, you were so good about teaching me, about the number 5. I'm like, okay, I don't remember this at all, but it was so sweet to know that you have this impact that you're not even realizing at the time.
Yeah. I have a moment that a student caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I was starting the big read aloud Ramona the Pest by Beverly Cleary.
Yes.
And I had the big book version. So I'm holding up this picture and it shows Ramona and her little red boots on the cover. And I said, Ramona the Pest. Does anybody know what pest means? And a very, very smart girl, she raises her hand right away. Yes, Charlie? And she said, doesn't that mean you're a pain in the ass? The class goes silent.
Right.
My associate bolts out of the room, laughing hysterically. And I just calmly said, Charlie, we don't use those words in this class. And she said, okay. Mm-hmm. And in my head, I'm like, she's been told this a little bit, maybe at home or something.
Right.
But I kept it together. We moved on. I didn't laugh at all. She's not wrong. She's not wrong at all. And I came home. It was probably 8 hours later, and I'm telling my husband, and I could not stop laughing because it was so good.
So good. And here you are so many years later.
Exactly. Yes.
That's so funny.
I had this one little kid. She'd come up, Charlie, because she had an orange, and she was concerned because, I guess they always come up, ask you to open their orange, they say. And so, I kind of pried it. Can you peel the rest? And she did, and she opened it up, and she pulled the sections apart, and it was deep red. And she said, I think there's something wrong with my orange. And I said, not thinking anything about this. I said, oh, no, it's a blood orange. And she said, blood? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I never thought that's a terrible name for a deep red orange.
Blood.
Blood.
And for a little kid, they're like, I'm not eating this orange made with blood.
Right? You think you have a mouthful of blood?
Okay, I have one. And then we're going to be done with this.
Okay.
Because it's
we could go on forever.
So I had a little girl, Charlie, of course, was her name, and she struggled a lot. And she was having a really bad day. And I just said, Charlie, why don't you go outside and just take a break? And so once the class was settled and doing their work, I went outside and I sat with Charlie. I was like, Charlie, I noticed you're having a rough day. And Charlie just says, I hate this beep, 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 F word, beep, 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 school. And we had to go a little bit deeper, and I helped Charlie calm down. But what was particularly funny also, maybe not in the moment, I of course had to share that with the parents because that was a big one, lots of big feelings. And I called the parents and I told them, and I was laughing. I was really lighthearted about it. And the parents were mortified.
Yes.
So they had the appropriate reaction, but I just thought it was funny.
Well, yeah. I think it's funny when they think they know what the bad word is. So-and-so said a bad word. What did he say? Well, you said the S word. Yeah. And then you find out it was, shut up. I'm like, well, okay, that's not the S word. It's not nice.
Or stupid.
Or stupid.
Yeah. But those when you're little are bad words.
They are.
I remember one student saying they said the J word.
You're like, what is that?
I'm like, what's the J word? I mean, I whispered in my ear.
Yeah. And what was it?
Jerk.
Oh. Yeah.
Wait, I have even the better one. So I had a class that was obsessed with Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, when you're in school, let's try not to think about Pokemon or talk about Pokemon. So a kid comes in from recess and said, Miss Annunziata, so-and-so said the P word. And I'm thinking the P word is like your privates.
Of course. One of them. Right.
And I was like, what is the P word? And they're like, Pokemon.
I had someone tell me that he said the D word, whisper, what is it? Darn. I said, oh, no, that's a euphemism for the real D word. And they all said, what's a euphemism? Oops.
Oh my gosh.
New lesson. Let's talk about euphemism.
This one little girl, Charlie, she comes up because sometimes they want to ask you, I don't know why they're interested, but they said, Mr. Calvert, what's your favorite flavor? Did I tell you this story?
No.
What's your favorite flavor of cake? And I said, chocolate. I like chocolate cake. And I said, what about you? And she said, cheese. I'm always thinking about it. I said, you're right. Cheesecake is my favorite flavor of cake. I didn't think of that.
A cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
Oh my gosh. So you just wrapped up teaching summer art classes.
Oh, yes.
So that's the perfect setting for being creative and expressing yourself, perhaps a little bit of chaos, right? We talked about chaos in your episode. So what was that like?
That was really good. I was approached. I think I was approached after many other people were approached, and I said, "Sure, I'd love to." And so I had said, "Let's call it Art Lab," because I didn't want parents or kids to expect like finished works make this exact thing. I wanted to experiment and like let's try, and if it doesn't work, let's try something else. I wanted to be a kind of a more creative, more fun, less product-oriented thing. So that's why I called it Art Lab. And then I asked another teacher to join me, and she was thrilled too. And I had in mind, like, okay, early in the morning, we'd get together. There'd be a little mini lesson in something, some technique, some color theory or line work or what a hatch work with, anything about like making art, like the technique of it, but just little. And then we would do some kind of project that we'd work on every day. So you get the idea of like little bits. And also some things need time to dry. You can't just whip up a project. Sometimes you can, but this would be our week.
So like a
process. And then in the afternoon, it would be really just open studio, whatever it is you want to do. So if you want to try something new every day, great. If you just want to work on cute anime eyes for your kitty cat, you can do that.
Yeah.
And so this other teacher said, I was thinking maybe we could. And she described the exact same thing. I said, wait, hold on. And I pulled out my phone to show what we're already advertising. And it was like almost exactly we're like, oh, well, this is going to be perfect. So
you two complement each other so well.
So that was, and we had a lot of fun. So it was a lot of chaos because at school we're teaching at, there's a lot of construction. There's like a huge construction thing happening. So we weren't quite sure what room we'd be teaching in or how we'd get to it sometimes. And it changed during the week. So it was a little crazy. But we both just rolled with the punches, and the kids were having a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Great. Yeah, it was really fun.
Did you feel like during the year when you're teaching, you have to accomplish X, Y, Z? So you had more freedom to, and also our art is more creative. And we've had this conversation too about like the creative process. But I think also managing that chaos that you mentioned and like glue and glitter and like, how do you, like when things just go, when they just go crazy with it?
Now, I learned a lot from my co-teacher. She's really good spontaneously and big picture wise. And so sometimes they would be starting to build a mess and I'd be like, okay, kids, we can't leave stuff on the ground because someone can get hurt. So like bring that up or whatnot. And she's like, we'll clean at the end. And then she was really good about like, who would like to help clean this thing? And we had volunteers. As soon as we asked them, do you want to volunteer to be in charge of getting all the colored pencils? And they loved it.
An assigned job. That is genius.
They loved it.
Well, it's like,
and then there was another thing because we'd made piñatas. And so we weren't sure if we were allowed to have candy in it. And, it becomes a thing when you're at a school. So like the director of the whole thing said, you know what, I can get these little squishies, these cute little toys that all the kids are into, mini versions of, and we'll have enough. So we passed out equal amounts to everyone for their piñatas. And then there were a few left, but not enough for everyone. So it was just held in the back. And my co-teacher announced, like, I see who's already cleaning. I see it. So we know who you are. And there might be a little gift for you. And then some other kids started doing it and saying, I've been cleaning. Watch, I'm cleaning. She said, no, it's not about who's telling me. We already saw. It's already kind of done. And they got their gifts. And it was like, that is also smart. To like acknowledge the people who were behind the cleanup.
I like that too, because it's fun to work with someone new because you always learn something.
Right.
Little tricks and tips.
Good.
You've known, I think we could say her name. I don't think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Gina.
Gina forever. Yeah.
Gina. And you two have known each other for
She's
over
the first
20.
person I met at Campbell Hall.
Oh my gosh. How long have you guys known each other?
25 years.
Love that.
So you've worked together, you've known each other, and yet you continually learn something.
All the time.
And I'm sure she would say she's learned stuff from you as well. So that makes it so fun.
Just recently, we were watching somebody, Charlie, do something that was like, oh, that's dangerous, or you're not supposed to do that or something. And I said, Charlie, don't do that. And, it continued to. And she said, Charlie, I don't like when you do that, or it makes me worried when you do that. And they stopped. And I was like, oh, I see. Like some people just don't want to hear, don't do that. They want to hear how it's affecting you or what it means to you. Or, I thought, wow, she's really good. There's a reason.
Shout out to Gina Knopf.
Shout out. Master teacher.
That's all the kindergarten training.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Big little lessons.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't mind the mess.
What was the messiest project you guys attempted?
Oh my God, there were so many messy projects. Weirdly, I think one of the messier projects was when we were making dolls. Because we were making yarn dolls at the same time. We were making these ugly monsters, which just means you can make anything you want. There's no wrong answer, but it was with cloth and sewing and gluing. And so all the products were out everywhere. But it's important not to try to clean up during the process of creation.
You're right.
Because you're creating a mess, but you're also creating art, and so clean up afterwards.
I think I would struggle being an art teacher just because I have anxiety if there's too much that's out,
Oh, yeah.
But I also recognize the importance of, I have that in my classroom. Obviously, I'm not like, you can't do that, you can't do that. I mean, we have lots of things out at the same time, but you have to, it's just releasing all of that and just saying, go for it.
Exactly. It's a balance.
Right.
And it depends on what you're looking for at the end product. Like it is a process-based lab that you're doing, but you also want to you don't want to be left with just hours of cleanup too.
Right.
Well, and I love when children have an idea, and if it's not there, they'll say, in the classroom, like, can I actually use the popsicle sticks or the paint? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course you can use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your idea.
That's your idea.
My brother was in art college. And so he had asked my mom, could he use her typewriter? And so she assumed he meant as a typewriter to write something.
Yeah, that's what.
That is not what he meant. He meant use it. He took it apart and made this sculpture out of it.
How creative.
Totally creative. He's in art college. So maybe she could have thought maybe that's where that was going. But, there was a miscommunication and it was a no longer usable typewriter. It was now a piece of art.
That's incredible. It's amazing how we so quickly assume things.
Yes.
And you think you clearly communicated and you learn.
Yes.
Did your mom laugh at this?
She had to. I mean, what are you going to do at that point? It's like
she's a creative person.
She's a very creative person, and she also was a teacher. Like, I guess I didn't ask enough questions.
Well, that's good. A sense of humor really goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about what we learned from these amazing little people. Because behind all these great stories, there's something meaningful, right? So what do you think these recent teaching experiences show about children, or what have you learned?
There was a particular little girl, Charlie, in art class, who was the one that was always the slowest to get ready, and we'd be separated. The bulk of the class has already moved on. And I'm like, oh, Charlie, we got to move on. I don't want to stifle anything, but literally we're across the campus. We got to physically get there. So she had a different view of everything. And we're making these dolls, and we had said, here's the fabric, and this is an example, and there's a big face, and these big eyes, and you can do hair, you can glue on this or that. And so she had chopped something off completely. It just kind of fell apart. And I was a little worried about what that would mean to her. And she just looked at it and she's like, oh, it's a dog. And she just like glued one end and had a different, and she put a leash on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. Aww. So kids have, they show you a different perspective, particularly the ones that you might get a little frustrated at. Sometimes they're showing you there's a whole other way to look at this that you're not taking into account,
As teachers, we're such time managers, and you have to be at some point because, like you said, if the rest of the class is off doing another activity, they're going to miss out.
Yeah.
And the fact of slowing down, too, a little bit.
Slowing down and looking at what's in front of you and not just cutting off the process you're exactly in to move to the next thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can't determine how it's going to go. And I think that's one of the really interesting things. It just reminded me of an incident where Charlie's backpack broke. And I was thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to do damage control because you don't know how. And Charlie's like, oh, well, I'll just get a new one. I can just, or I have another one at home. I'll just switch backpacks. And I thought, oof, dodged a bullet. But we're faced with these moments often throughout the day.
Yes.
And when they are the ones that repair it, it just, it's, and
they're
then,
resilient, they're creative, they repair it.
Don't you always give them so much kudos, like, oh, I'm so proud of you.
Because that's what we want. We want to build resilient, go with the flow, problem solve, independent children.
She was showing me what art lab was. She did it. She's like, this got cut off. Oops, now it's this. I was like, well, that's exactly what I said I wanted. You did it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we return to the original episode, Finding Joy in the Midst of Chaos.
Back when I was young.
Back when you were a year younger.
We were in our 50s.
Yeah. We have a quick summer school lightning round.
Okay,
so question number 1. Do you prefer paint or markers?
Oh, I have a trick answer. There are markers that are made of paint. There's acrylic markers that are really fun to play with.
Glitter or no glitter?
No glitter. It gets everywhere, and it gets in your
glitter.
eyes. And we got a horror story from this one little girl, Charlie. We brought the glitter out because we're going to make something and with slime, and we're going to be putting it in a squishy. And we're like, well, we have all this glitter, and so we start using it. And little Charlie's like, I had to go to the hospital once because the glitter got in my eye. And I was like, oh my god. But okay, let's be very careful with the glitter. And then after that, we're like, no more glitter. I just the horror of it. Didn't happen to us.
That's real.
That is
I was
real.
like, yeah, we'll do other things.
So kindergarten art or middle school art?
Oh man, I have to go with kindergarten art. I think they have the spirit of art.
They do.
One of the issues with art is that art is natural in a way that very few things we teach at school are. Like your brain doesn't just look at squiggles and know how to read. Babies can learn 6 languages at the same time because it's just natural to our brains, speaking, but not reading or writing. But art predates all of that. I mean, that is like Neanderthals made art. So it's something we do naturally. And if you give them the space, they will do it. And then, unfortunately, we get into a lot of judging. Even praise becomes judgment because then you're setting up a hierarchy like, oh, that's wonderful. You're getting better, which means you were worse and eventually you'll hit my goal, which is really not like
it's not
how
the
you.
point.
It's not the point, and it's not how you foster creativity, and also none of your business. Like this is a human making art like they're supposed to, but it's hard not to. And then they start asking those questions like, is this good? Is this not good? And you get trapped in that. So I feel like with kindergarten, mostly you can avoid all that and start them out fresh. With like middle school, you're doing a lot of triage because a lot of people have already given up on it or feel bad about it or,
that the real, like this world just gets into their head.
I feel like in middle school art, it's about like bringing them back to where they were in kindergarten.
Yes. That's what our whole podcast is about. Like at the end of the day, we all really are hoping to be that wonder of kindergartners.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. Indoor classroom or outdoor classroom?
Oh, gosh. I think I have to say indoor because I can grab their attention better. Maybe you start indoor and then you go out.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good compromise. I was like, depends on the weather.
Yeah.
Okay, between a student who asks 100 questions or a student who quietly does something completely differently?
Oh, I love the quietly differently.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
You're really good at noticing that too.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially if you set it up in a way that you can like, get around and see, oh, you're doing that. Oh, you're doing that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially with a lot of questions, particularly if we're talking about the summer arts program, a lot of questions often is just them holding back from doing something or trying to please you. And neither one of those do I want.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I'll ask them to ask a neighbor or I'll ask them to try something for a little bit and then we can change later or because too many questions, it just sounds like they're trying to like hit some kind of target that they want me to set for them. And I don't want that.
Well, I think that's a good spot to close out this before we listen to the original episode. James, thank you for coming back and helping us. Being our first revisit episode.
Oh my, we'll have to do a revisit of the revisit.
Yeah, the first and then the first.
And then the first.
Yeah, and the first.
And next year we'll do it again.
Of course we will. Keep coming back.
We have a feeling that this might not be your last final.
No, in fact, it won't be. So
as long as children keep saying and doing unforgettable things, we'll need you to keep a running list, and then we'll have you back.
Okay, so now we're going to take our listeners back to our original conversation with James. It's a great episode filled with laughter, friendship, and stories, and it reminds us that some of the greatest lessons in school are found in the moments no teacher could ever plan.
So as you listen, listeners, think about the teachers, the classmates, the school experiences that still make you laugh. Sometimes those seemingly small moments become the stories we remember for the rest of our lives.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Big Little Lessons. Today, we're going to talk about joy. And finding joy in the classroom is essential. That is something that Kristine and I work on continuously because our little kindergartners come in and they're so bubbly and energetic.
Joy is really, really important in the classroom because without joy, I mean, honestly, what's the point?
What is the point? So today we're excited to bring along someone who finds joy in the midst of chaos at all times. It's one of our dear friends, James Calvert.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
the one and only.
Yeah, I mean, a true legend in our school.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, he isn't just a substitute teacher. He's the kind of presence that lights up a classroom.
Dude, James.
You're
In
so
fact,
sweet.
James is the kind of person you want at every gathering, from parties to
Not just
book
the
clubs
classroom.
to a day at the beach. He brings joy wherever he goes. With a background in acting and a heart full of joy, he turns an ordinary school day into a magical one. So,
James, do you know that you're known for creativity, flexibility, joy, and kindness? You're such a kind person. And somehow it's true what Jenny said, even in the chaos of last minute substitute jobs, which is not an easy job to have.
Yep.
You always connect with the kids and the people and the community, and you're a joy to be around.
Well, we can't wait to hear your stories and your wisdom and the big little lessons that you've learned and taught along the way.
Thank you.
Woohoo! So, James, tell us a little about your educational journey. What was it like?
I remember, since we're talking about joy and chaos, I could tell you about chaos. I think I was in first grade or second grade up in Santa Barbara. Someone brought a snake in, a live snake. They thought it'd be so interesting. And the snake had not eaten. So we got to see them put this poor little mouse in there and squeeze the mouse. We saw a little heart burst. It was a lot for a first grader. It was a lot.
Terrifying.
And then she's like, well, now he's docile because he's eaten. So if you want to, bring him around and you could touch him, you could pet the little bump. And little Jim Calvert was like, no, that's not for me. No, I'm quite okay. No, I don't need that. But they kept going up and down the aisle. And I was like, no, that's okay. And finally she got to me. And I was like, I don't really need to. And that snake apparently felt like my fear and turned and vomited up.
No.
Yes, the little rat on me.
No.
Horrible. And evacuated the back end. So then I got a whole lesson about how snakes can do that. They
Clearly.
they do that in case they're scared or they're trying to get rid of a predator. They can do all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Very early memory.
What a memory.
So, how do you feel about snakes today?
I appreciate them as fellow creatures on this planet, but I am not having them in. Except in kindergarten, one of the assistants kept snakes. And so I remember she brought in the snakes. Cool. And she was great because now I'm a substitute teacher. Now I'm an adult. And she really respected how much I wanted to interact or not interact with her snake. And she loved her snake. So I got to pet it a little bit.
One index finger on the top of the head.
And if you like,
just enough for me.
Yeah. So I get to revisit that lesson in a less intrusive way.
I do not like snakes, but that child book, Verde, do you remember that book?
No, I don't know that.
Stella Luna.
Stella Luna, of course.
The author wrote a book, Verde.
I
It's
know
about
which
the
book you're
green
talking
emerald
about.
snake.
Ooh.
And honestly, that book helped me to think, maybe I could look at a snake and not cringe.
Right.
But yeah, I'm fascinated by people who love snakes. So, But if I had a first grade experience like you did, forget it.
It was pretty traumatic.
Oh my gosh. What
Lots of
kind of
chaos.
student would you say you were when you were in the younger years?
I think I was a very enthusiastic student, but I probably a lot to handle because I do recall there was some discussion about putting me on some kind of medication to calm me down. And my mother was kind of against it. So they came up with a solution that every so often I just got too antsy. The teacher would say, Jim, run to the end of the the play yard. So I would run across campus and back, panting, and then I was calm enough to sit down and listen.
But that was a good teacher, right? She gave you the accommodation that you need.
Absolutely.
I'm like, you know what you need? You need a lap around the kindergarten yard. Let's go. And they're thrilled. They think they're getting away with something. I'm like, you're helping all of us.
That was cool. I like
absolutely.
that.
This was back in the 70s.
Do you have any memories?
I don't remember the teacher specifically. I just remember that was allowed. Like this was first and second grade. I don't remember the teacher so well. Third grade, Mrs. Sims. Fourth grade, Mrs. Chalfont. Fifth grade, Dr. Hayes. Like then I started putting
it together.
Faces to names.
I think that's developmental as well, because I think you don't have that. It's kind of your first time in our case, an elementary classroom. Right. And so they're just building routines. So they're kind of a deer in a headlight. All year they're just like, this is our first time doing anything at the school. So it makes sense.
Of those, one particular person that you...
Miss Chalfont, I just loved her because I remember she also kind of appreciated me. Like she got who I was. And so there'd be something in the classroom that was going to be extra credit, except for James, because he's going to be doing it anyway. So it's not extra credit for you. Everyone laughed because they knew I was going to do all the assignments no matter what. And she also taught us about elbow grease. We were going to come and clean the room. And she told us just to bring elbow grease. That's all we needed. And we all looked at her like, what are you talking about?
Elbow grease?
So we got to explain that. And then in fifth grade, we had this amazing teacher, Dr. Hayes, and he was able to do stuff that I don't think you can get away with now. But he trusted us so much as fifth graders. He would give us a list of assignments that were due. He'd give it on Monday, and Friday they were due. And then it was up to you whether you came to school or not. And you just had to come back and have everything done. And the classroom was open to you, of course, and he was there to help. But it was about being independent and about, you have to come up with, and he also was great about having these large goals chopped up into smaller pieces. So you could see, by this date, you needed to pick your topic for your main research program. Wow. And by this date, you needed to have broken down into chapters. And by this date, you had to read this much.
He was teaching you to be intrinsically motivated.
Yes.
It was not for any other reason than he was giving you all that ownership of your learning.
Right.
So cool.
I could see you at that age because you're such you're similar to Kristine and myself where you love to learn and you're so naturally engaged. Do you remember, so I imagine you were just thriving on it because to be able to make your own choices of what you're going to do within some outline form. Right?
We had at one point, environmental trips, where we had to go out and you take the bus line. We had to plan out our bus line, go to these different places, come back. Obviously, he had people watching, you could call him and tell him what's happening. And I thought that was so great. And then I really wanted to go because there was supposed to be this storm surge and there was going to be these huge waves in Santa Barbara. And I wanted to go to the breakwater. And he's like, well, write me a proposal. Wow. I was like, what is that? And he said, give me a purpose and how we'll go about it. And so I had to typed back in 1970, whatever. But I typed this whole thing up, why we would do it, what we would get out of it, basically a lesson plan. And I'm sure it was a foregone conclusion. He was going to say yes, but I still had to come up with it. He was a fantastic teacher.
He was a fantastic teacher, but you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking what about, poor Charlie could not handle that, who needed more hand-holding, right? Interesting. I mean, I think that hopefully that they would rise to the occasion.
Hopefully. And he was there every day. So you did if you came to school, there was a schedule, there was a thing to do. It's just you weren't punished if you wanted to do it independently.
I feel like that was he was for the forefront of differentiated curriculum.
He was.
He was really making it work for you and for Charlie.
I wonder, did you keep in touch with him or did you?
I was only in... My mom was very proactive about my education, so he wasn't actually at my school. So I was at one school, second, third, fourth grade, and then he was at a different school. So she worked out a transfer and, a ride-sharing thing, and I went to this other school for one grade and then came back to my regular school. Oh, my goodness. And then we moved to, a different city. So
I love that. Oh, my gosh, James, the things we're learning about you. I love it. Well, okay, so I want to ask you, what brought you into the classroom? For listeners, I mean, you've taught every subject in elementary.
In the art studio, he's wearing an apron.
He's so creative. I mean, he's amazing at it. And then music, and you're singing with the kids, and you're just amazing. And I mean, I've had the honor, and I know Kristine has too, of having you in our classroom. And you just bring yourself to it. So tell me, how did you get started becoming a substitute teacher at the school?
Funny little story. I mean, I'm an actor, and I would subsidize that by also teaching drama. And so mostly that was like, preteens, teenagers, something like that. But then there was also a summer program going on at Campbell Hall.
We just say the school.
The school.
That's the school. Keep going.
La, la, la. So there was a summer program happening there, and I was asked to come in and teach, direct the play. This was for the 4 and 5-year-olds, the really young kids. And I thought, I don't know. I've never done that. They're like, oh, you're great with kids. You'll be great with this. So I went and I had a really good time. And my co-teacher happened to be in charge of all the subs for the school. And so she asked, did I want to come in and be a sub during the year? I thought, okay, I don't know. So the first thing she calls, she goes, okay, so tomorrow, come on in and you'll be teaching, you'll be teaching PE. And I said, okay, of all the subjects, that is not necessary. I was the actor and I was the director and I'm in the arts. She's like, no, great. You have great control of the classroom. You really listen to people. I think you'll be fine. So I showed up with my little costume on. So I looked like a PE teacher.
I love it, with your little cap.
Yeah. And
that was your first day.
That was my very first day teaching. And I was the PE teacher. And I do remember some of the kids were horsing around and they were using equipment improperly. I was like, well, that looks dangerous. So I said, hey, that looks dangerous. Let's not do that. And this kid said, yes, sir. And I thought, oh, I could do this. I like this place.
That's so funny. I remember seeing the first time before I was teaching kindergarten full time, I was substituting at the school for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
But my first year teaching kindergarten, you became a substitute. And pretty quickly I thought, I'm so glad I'm not substituting now because this guy is way better at it than I am.
No.
And no, you were good. And so the first time my associate was going to be absent and I heard I was going to have James Calvert in to substitute. And I pulled in with the girls and you were like 2 cars over and there's kids everywhere and there's carpools and stuff going on. And I see you and you're very focused knitting. And I thought, why do I think I'm going to like this guy? And of course I do.
So it's you're a true Renaissance man, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
And so when you come into the classroom, how do you use your acting? How do you use all those skills to get their attention? Or, are you thinking about it when it's happening?
I'm not thinking about it,
just
but
organic.
it's organic and it's how I've lived my life. And there's a certain kind of attention you have to bring to a performance where you are very much listening to what's happening at that moment and you're paying attention to what's happening at that moment and bringing a little more energy than just sitting around chatting with people.
Right.
You have a little bit of intensity and clarity. And that really helps people know, oh, now's the time to listen, as opposed to coming in and just what's happening? Where am I supposed to be?
That's a true gift. And Jenny and I talk about reading the room a lot, as a teacher and as a person in general. That's such an important skill to be able to come in, to walk into a place that you've never been before with people you've never seen before and to assess what the situation and what it feels like and where to put yourself, right? You do that beautifully.
When you're stepping in as the substitute teacher, you have to be putting yourself at the front. You can't just take a back seat, you know? So, but the really good thing about stepping in as a substitute is that always there's already a routine set up. So all the students are expecting something to happen. And all you have to do is ask them, what's the next thing that normally happens? And they're so happy to tell you because they get to be the expert. And then you get to run through it. And I said, I'm not asking you to do anything dangerous or embarrassing or illegal. We're just going to be a little different. So just, I'm going to have a lot of patience and I hope you do too. So if I go a slightly different way, maybe it's okay. Go with the flow. But I don't want to make anything wrong or say, don't tell me what to do or anything. I just want to listen and say, I appreciate that you're trying to keep the class going the way it always has. Thank you for that input. At this point, I think we should just go with my suggestion.
Don't you think that that's what makes a successful teacher and substitute? Because if you were just nope, we're lining up, you would get the kids would not be interested in you.
No.
And you wouldn't have their trust, you wouldn't have their attention. And then instead of creating joy, it would be more chaotic.
I think that's back to your thinking of, how to kind of approach and kind of command with flexibility and humor.
Yeah.
Because we've all had those substitute teachers where they're just, it's my way or the highway, and that can backfire.
I want to have a good time when I'm there, and I want to learn something. Yep. And so I think that comes across, when I'm with the kindergartners and we're going to read some silly little book. I want to, well, what happens? I mean, what happens to the octopus?
I wanted that.
So, it helps when I can actually ask someone, hey, could you not disturb your neighbor? I'm trying to find out what happens with this book. So as long as it's not about a me against you situation, but like we're all in this together, we all want to learn together. And we're going to have fun.
Yeah, no, it is fun. And it is nice as a substitute to be able to kind of follow a teacher's plans and then wrap up the day and say, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Another time.
Taking yourself too seriously, but you're getting the kids, engaged.
Right.
And really all that is my only job of the day is to be really present with the kids and to make them feel that they've had a good day, they've learned something, that I appreciate, I can hear them. And I'm listening, and that's all. I don't have to make lesson plans. I don't have to deal with administration or other things outside of the class or like know where we are in the flow of the year. I just have to make that kid in front of me feel special.
I love
that. Is it hard to follow lessons? I was never a substitute teacher, ever. So I've never had to walk into a classroom and follow someone else's lessons plan, but both of you have.
I really enjoyed it. I never had a bad day with substitute teaching. I think because when you come into a brand new room, they're trying to assess you pretty quickly too.
Oh, yeah.
And I always had like a little bag of tricks. So I would say, hey, everybody, if we get all this stuff done, the last 15 minutes, I played this silly little name that tune game. I would have a little game where we'd have extra free play or something fun for them to do. And I'm like, whoops, getting too noisy. I'd love to give you that 15-minute, that game, and they would straighten up. Now, the problem would be if I had to come back 3 or 4 days, and it's like,
we're done with this.
The novelty is wearing off. This game's done. So, but I really loved it. And I felt like it was a chance to get to know all the teachers at a school, all the students. You just get to see them in a different way. So it's fun. And you, James, you've been a long-term sub where you've had contracts and then you're going to the meetings and you're going to all the things and filling out and report cards and parent conferences. So it's a big difference.
It's a big difference,
Right.
I know you've had times where you're like, I can't work on Wednesday. I'm going to Disneyland. I'm like, oh, can I please go with you?
Come.
And you send pictures. Here I am having a great time. So that's also flexibility. I love that. So, but you have stepped in at the very last minute, or a teacher comes to work and, half hour in, they're like, I have to go home. I don't feel well.
Right.
And comes James.
We call you. Yeah.
You've been such a gift. So
you're our go-to guy.
Right. So let's see. You have some go-to things that you really like to do when there's like that last 15 minutes or there's that.
I love reading. And I love being read to.
Oh, I love that.
And so like there's always you're in a school, there's always books available. And so that's my go-to. My go-to is like, let's have a little reading session, whether it's me reading to the little kids or we'll partner up and read to each other or silent reading if, some classes are really into that. But yeah, that's my go-to in the end.
I love it.
And as an actor, you must really be good at voices.
Oh, there was that unicorn, the grumpy unicorn.
Did he have a voice?
Did he have a voice? It's so good. I feel like you need to record that book and upload it.
I just remembered there were so many different characters. And at one point, I had forgotten what voice I had used because I didn't think this character was coming back. Great. And I said something and the kids looked at me like, that's not what you did last time.
That's not the voice.
Switching
2 pages back. It's like, I'm sorry.
I mean, the grumpy unicorn voice was just killing me.
I don't want to do that. It was so fun.
Oh my gosh. I threw the book at him. Like he was working with me and it was like the last 15 minutes of the day. James, will you do it? He's of course I will. And so he's just reading it cold and I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. It was very fun.
I'm having a flashback and I just have this vivid memory and it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Okay.
Before you were traveling.
Yes.
I was like, would you please record yourself reading a book, a St. Patrick's Day book, as a leprechaun.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I totally remember that.
And I think you came to my apartment and I recorded you reading it.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to have something for I remember that.
I mean, we were talking earlier, Kristine, about wanting to find joy, especially during the lockdown and COVID and remote learning. And we're like, we've got to have joy in the kindergarten classroom. And then I'm like, wait, James wasn't here. Where'd you go?
I was Japan.
Yeah.
I flew to
You left
Japan
us.
for a year.
It was the beginning, so you got us going.
He taught us. He taught us how to have joy in the class.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So thank you.
I said yes.
I know, and I think you came back, you got vaccinated, and you went back to work.
Almost immediately.
A year later, it was March to March. March 21, you're like, I'm back on campus.
All right.
Here we go. So that was great.
Do you have any funny moments that you can think of with students? I mean, we have them all the time, right?
Oh,
Are
my
there
gosh,
any that
there's
so
stand
many.
out
I mean,
to you?
there's the whole, kids say the darndest things thing.
Greatest show ever.
Oh, I just kindergarten. Like, I remember some little kid, Charlie, asking me how old I was. And foolishly, I said, how old do you think? And they said, 18? And I said, oh, no, I'm a little older than that. And they said, 100? And I thought, okay, this is not fair. I said, it's not fair. I'm sorry. I'm whatever age I was. But, how would you know? And I do remember that another little boy, Charlie, and we were all lining up to go outside for his little snack. And, at the time we had to wear a tie as a man. So you'd have to tuck in your shirt. And you'd have to have a nice little, there's a certain look with a tie. And so he walked up to me and, he's just a little below my waist. And he reaches up both hands and he holds on to my little fat rolling over my belt. And he says, you're a little bit fat, Mr. Calvert.
Oh, gosh.
And I said, yes, I am. He clearly was not being mean. He was just being very observant.
Oh. As 5 and 6-year-olds are. They tell
They
it
are
like it is.
so
They just
honest.
do.
You're not
Oh,
fat.
you're so sweet.
You look fabulous. No, but I had a kindergartner say that one time. It was like May, early June. And she just looked at me and she's like, you look really tired. I'm like, that is not a compliment, by the way. Who wants to be told that you look really tired? I'm like, I am.
It's the end of a long year.
I'm really tired. Good observation.
Music, though, when we had microphones, much like these, actually. And I remember we had some time at the end. And I was like, hey, they'd say, can we have like open mic? And I'm like, sure. And so one kid got up and he did a little stand up, very funny. And then this gal, she got up and she started singing some song that she loved and then forgot a lyric and then came out with this expletive. Right.
Oh.
And it was silent and everyone looked at me and she looked at me and I said, we don't know what that word means. We've never heard it. Any of us,
That was brilliant.
A day in
Right?
the life. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's a good one.
And the truth is, throughout your days, you could either get frustrated or annoyed or grumpy, but you don't. I mean, the way that you see the children and the way that
Yes.
you are experiencing your job as a substitute teacher, it makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference, not only for the kids, but for the teachers as well.
That I didn't know. I didn't know that. For me, it's always about me and the kids, and I never thought about the other teachers.
Oh my gosh. I mean, all the teachers are like, I want James Calvert. I want James Calvert. And they fight and they get, irritated with each other.
all want you.
No, I've got the class that really needs him. And so everyone like arm wrestles for James Calvert. So I remember one day, it was the end of May. The kids are now mistakenly calling me mom because they're getting too comfortable. We call them, they're now first graders. It's time to move on.
You're cooked.
And so they had free choice time. It was a Friday.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm doing my little clean up, everybody, everywhere. And no one's cleaning up, not anything. So then I'm like,
Never happened to me.
I'm like, we gotta get this place cleaned up and packed up because we gotta go home. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And they're not listening. So in waltz James. I think you were somewhere else on campus, but you came over.
Oh yeah, because sometimes I would just drop in.
Yeah, you just kind of float through. I'm like, James, I can't get them to clean up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm getting like grumpy, right? Let's just say it like it is. And James is like, well, let's just change it up. And so he puts on Queen, We Will Rock You. Really loud. And all of a sudden, bum, 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 bum. We will. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if anybody walks in, I'm supposed to be sing-songing happy. And we have this song really loud. And do you know, you got me laughing so hard.
And we cleaned up, didn't we?
If you can't get them to do something, switch it up, make a new song.
Switch it up.
Think of how James Calvert would do it.
So
I'm
anyway.
going to butcher the quote, but there's a Maya Angelou quote where she talks about like people are not going to remember like the words that you said or how you phrased it, but they will remember how
they
you
made them
feel.
feel.
I love that.
It's so important with I'm sure these kids are not going to remember my name or what I did, but hopefully they'll, actually I've seen that actually. I came back from Japan this last time after a year and I had been a long-term sub in second grade, and now they're in third grade. A year had gone by, and I came into sub, and they kind of look at me, and then they did a little double take, or some did or some didn't. And someone said, I think maybe a long time ago, did you teach us? I was like, well, yeah. I mean, a good 20% of your life ago, but, just 10 minutes ago for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, oh, yeah, I remember. They didn't remember like what I did or what my name was, but they do remember the feeling they had about interacting with me.
So important.
Well, I'm curious. And then, I mean, we all have those days that are a little bit challenging or rough. And how do you maintain some humor and grace when you...
I don't know that I've ever actually seen you in a bad mood.
Either.
Yeah, I don't...
If you're grumpy or...
Well, if I'm the grumpy unicorn, I can just choose not to work that day. That's the joy of being a sub. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you could just say no.
I'm going to Disneyland.
But often, like if I'm feeling grumpy or it seems chaotic, I'll just be really honest with the kids.
Yeah.
Like that's the honesty is like they'll know that you're being truthful.
Yeah.
And I'll say, you guys, this is really frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm really frustrated. I'm trying to get this done. It doesn't seem like it's gonna. So, we need to get this much done.
Yes.
How can we do that?
Yeah.
Even if we don't get the whole goal. So, sometimes you just have to say, kids, help me out here. Help me out.
Please name it, because I think that sometimes kids don't always know that we're having, some challenges too, and that they need to help us out as much as we're helping them.
I mean, everybody's going through something. I've heard sometimes some confessions that have come at me like, whoa. Yeah. I'm amazed that you can be here every day and concentrate at all. Like what's going on in your family right now or what just happened or where your thoughts are. And so, I appreciate it when I am told that, but I got to remember that not everyone's comfortable telling me that. So if I see a kid that's not listening or, there's obviously a reason other than that kid doesn't like me. That's not the answer.
No, never.
Just having some natural empathy,
for them and for you.
Right. I mean, and you're always so good about kind of touching base with the teacher about the day you spent with the students. And again, you actually have humor and you always drew cute little pictures. Do you remember the one?
With a picture?
No, you just would have your little drawings.
Remember the one where I told you?
I know. Oh my gosh. So I had a student who was late every single day, except she missed one day of school. She was late every single day and only missed one day of school the entire school year. Yeah. And she was lovely, bright, smart, charming, but impulsive and shouting out and rarely on task and struggled with friendships. And so James was substituting, and I come back the next morning and I get this note. Charlie was on task all day. Charlie raised her hand all the time.
Interrupted.
Never interrupted. And I'm reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, he can really. And then at the fifth bullet point, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Of course she didn't do any of this.
You left me notes like that too. I love that.
Oh, I saved it for the longest time because it would crack me up because it's like, you got to have fun with these kids, and just find the joy when they are a little bit spicy or a little bit rambunctious, that it's actually kind of hilarious at the same time. So finding that joy.
He would, on the bottom of your lesson plan, it would say, your class was delightful today. They followed all directions. They got all their work done. A+.
Yeah.
That's great.
Gosh.
Thank goodness. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay. Should we do a little bit of lightning round?
Let's do it.
So you ready?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay. First question. What is your favorite classroom book to read aloud?
Okay, there's a story. Jenny, in your class and your class as well, I'm assuming, because they were mirrored, they read Charlotte's Web.
Oh,
and I love Charlotte's Web.
Yes, they did.
And I hadn't read that for a long time. And so at the very end, it says, at the end of the day, you start where the marker is, we're 2/3 of the way through the book. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay. So, I get the kids and I'm so excited. I'm going to read this to you. And I open it up and Wilbur's like, we're going to go back home tomorrow. And Charlotte said, I won't be going home with you tomorrow. And Wilbur said, why not? And then I was like, I was choking up because I knew what was going to happen.
I know.
And all the kids looking at me and there are tears rolling down my eyes. I'm like, I can't be crying, but
I'm languishing.
Charlotte's going to die. And they don't know.
I'm
And how dare you tell me to read from this moment?
I know. I think I did it twice to you.
It was always right around there. And all the kids would look at me like, why are you so choked up?
I know. I had to give him the very end of the fairgrounds, and Charlotte's languishing. I'm like, I don't want to read this either. I'm saving it for James.
Let James do it.
Oh, that's the truth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, funniest thing a kindergartner has ever said to you.
Oh, the funniest has got to be you're a little bit fat, Mr. Calvert.
You're a little bit fat.
All right. Do you have a best classroom costume or theme day? Our school, we go free dress.
I remember we had summer or something. You came in with a sun hat, and then I put a lot of sunscreen on my nose as if it was like zinc, like back in the 80s. And none of the kids knew what that was. And all the teachers were like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that since 1992.
The next one, I know this is going to, I think I know the answer.
Okay.
For morning message, what's your favorite way to greet a class?
Ohayo gozaimasu. Kindergarten yokoso.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to kindergarten.
Amazing.
And to bow, and they look at you like, well,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you're quite fluent in Japanese
and German.
German.
And basically whoever we fought or two.
You can fake it till you make it for just about any language.
Yeah, pretty good with Spanish and French. I can, read it off the page.
Yeah. No, but it was funny one time. The kids were kind of restless on the rug and reading a story, and he just jumped right in reading the whole thing in Japanese. And the look on their faces was just they were just puzzled. And then they were like trying to focus. So it quieted them down. And then he went back.
Great way to get attention.
Clearly it's not gibberish. I'm actually speaking to you. You could understand this.
Okay. And last one is, what's your teacher superpower? So when you think about yourself as a teacher in the classroom, what do you feel like is like makes you you?
What is your teacher superpower? Maybe I can understand this better.
I would say my teacher's superpower is empathy. When someone is struggling in a subject matter, I'm like, oh, I know I had that too when I was a kid. I get it. When they struggle to listen, I'm like, oh, I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
I think would be like being able to almost knowing what a 5 or 6 year old is thinking before they are thinking it.
Oh, you are good at that.
So I feel like, after 33 years of teaching small children, like you can predict what's going to happen. So it's like going back to what we said about reading the room. So I think that's an important.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's really good at that.
I think my superpower would be humor and surprise.
Yeah.
I love it.
Bravo.
Well, James, please come back and do another podcast with us. This was so much fun. And when we were talking about bringing joy in the classroom, you were the first person we thought of, because you bring joy wherever you go. And when things are kind of chaotic and uncertain, you find the fun and you make it extra fun.
We've been so lucky to have you as a colleague and
as a dear
friend.
Thank you. That I treasure. I really do.
So James, thank you again for helping us launch Big Little Lessons and for returning to share even more stories with us.
My pleasure.
Yay.
I have one more.
What?
Oh my God, I thought of something after listening to that.
Do tell. Squeeze it in.
I thought it was your story.
Yes.
But apparently you told me it's somebody else's story through, but nonetheless, I think it still works.
Please do tell that story.
Little Charlie, in my mind, this is the story. Little Charlie's in kindergarten.
Yep.
And she has, a kind of a adult background. Like everyone she's around is an adult in her life. And this is her first time being around kids in a little school where you have expectations about how you talk. And she's working on her fine motor skills, trying to draw a letter on top of a letter. And you had said to her, because she was scribbling all around it and being very creative and lovely, but this isn't the time for that. We'd love you to try to stay within the lines. And she threw down her crayon and said, God damn it. And you told me you held your composure and said to her, Charlie, we don't use those words. And Charlie looked up totally innocently and said, well, what the hell am I supposed to say?
That needs a round of applause.
Yes, it does. Yeah, she is a memory maker for sure.
Absolutely.
And now she's an adult. Mm-hmm. She's launched her career. Mm-hmm. She's amazing. But she is an awesome. And that was
and I think her career is actually saying saying having a funny take on the obvious, right?
Yes.
She kind of makes comments about the world as it is. She has not changed.
She has not changed.
She was about to do. Oh my gosh.
I love her.
James, that was a perfect closure.
Perfect closure.
So listeners, you can find Big Little Lessons wherever you listen to podcasts. Also Apple Podcast and Spotify.
You can follow us on Instagram at Teach Big Little Lessons, where we share episode clips and guest insights.
We'd love to hear from you. So finally, send us a funny school memory at teachbiglittlelessons@gmail.com. We could do a whole podcast on listeners' funny memories.
It would be fun.
That'd be good.
All right. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow the show, share the episode with a friend, or leave us a rating and review. It truly helps more listeners find us.
Until next time, remember, Big Little Lessons are everywhere.